UFC 264, Poirier versus McGregor 3. My official predictions. I'm gonna start off with some exciting fights. Trevin Giles versus Dirkus du Plessis. I do think that this could end up going. It is a very even fight, but I do think Darkus does win a decision. I do believe it will be a hard fought fight, but I do believe he wins. I believe maybe around 1 and 2, and loses the third round. Just because Trevin Giles did beat Roman Dolidze in his latest fight, but I just don't see this could go either way. It's a very, very close matchup fight. Both of them are great fighters. I'm just leaning towards Darkus. We move on to Ryan Hall versus Tapora. Ryan Hall, great BJJ guy, amazing touches you're submitted, versus Ilia Tapora, who also is really good at BJJ, but is also a better striker than Ryan Hall is. For Tapora, he would just need to strike with Ryan Hall. If he goes to the ground, I believe this could be over for him. Even though he is he is a very high BJJ guy, Ryan Hall, he's a very, very high level guy. He's older, he has more experience, and no one wants to fight him. In this case, I just see Ryan Hall winning this, maybe even by a submission. I do believe he could submit Tapora, who is undefeated, by the way. We move on to Nico Price versus Pereira. Oh, this is a good one. This is gonna be a big banger of a fight. Nico Price does have power, a lot more power than Pereira does. He could knock you out in any way or form. The problem is his defense lack. He does lack defense. And Pereira is, well, before his latest fight, he was very wild. But then he was very composed, And in my opinion, if he does stick to that, he'll be more defensively sound, and he could take out Nico Price maybe in the late second, middle third round. But that's only if he sticks like that. With the crowd and everything, that might just make him pump up, and he'll end up rushing there, flying around, and that could really, really cause him to get knocked out. Because Nico Price, let's say he falls down and Pereira just runs at him and he just hits him with his heel right to the jaw. Pereira will be out. He's done it with James Vick. So I do think Pereira wins this if he stays composed and doesn't rush into Nico Price's power. Carlos Condit versus Max Griffin. I just think Condit's gonna win. His fight with Matt Brown just showed how big, even though they're both older guys, just showed how good he was. And it's not like Max Griffin is young. Max Griffin is I believe 2 years younger than Condit, so it's not a huge age difference. So I do believe Condit does win this by a decision. I believe he might be able to streak out all 3 rounds and just snip it into his pocket. Then we move to the big boys. Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy. Tuivasa, man, he's got power. Big man power. So does Greg Hardy. But Greg Hardy doesn't have a gas tank. Greg Hardy has 1 round in him. Maybe. The 1 round's a maybe, as in because depends on how he fights. If he rushes in there, he has half a round. He has 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And if he stays a bit composed, he has the 5 minutes. Tuivasa, I do believe he has a better gas tank and a lot more power and a more durable chin. Even he did get submitted. And I do believe his chin is more durable than Greg Hardy's. And if it goes punch to punch, Tuivasa knocks out Hardy. Unless Hardy lands a very special hit, like on the button chin and that swipes out Tuivasa, I don't see Greg Hardy taking any win here today. On fight night, I see Tuivasa knocking him out cold in the later rounds of the first round. We move on to one big banger of a fight, the Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho. I don't think this fight is anywhere close, as a lot of the people betting think as well. O'Malley has the height, the reach, and the experience. Chris is coming into his first UFC fight, which brings in, from a lot of past fighters, brings in a lot of anxiety, more than other fighters, because you want to prove yourself to all the fans and the boss. But in your matched up with O'Malley and you're a late replacement, it doesn't look good for him. O'Malley 13-1 obviously, Chris 9-4. I do believe O'Malley's very tricky to fight, you know. He feints his movements, moves left, right, and then just quickly circles off. You don't know where to throw your you don't know whether to throw a straight, a looping, you don't know. An overhand. So I do think O'Malley knocks Chris out cold, like he has done to Weiland and Almeida in the first round. It depends if Chris, has the heart and the chin. It could go to the second round. I don't see Chris standing a chance to beat O'Malley. I think O'Malley finishes him off relatively quickly, and after this, O'Malley gets a better fight. A contender, maybe a rematch with Vera. Who knows? But this is pretty easily stated that O'Malley's gonna win this. We move on to the co-main event. Gilbert Burns versus Stephen Thompson. Gilbert Burns, when he fought Usman, he hurt Usman really quickly because he ran in and threw that overhand. He starts off extremely fast, and if he does that with Wonderboy, I don't think that will land. Burns does have power, does have speed, and does have wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and all that. Wonderboy has the skills to basically beat Burns. He's very hard to fight. That karate style, his kicks, his punches, he fights in both stances. That's gonna cause Burns a lot of trouble. And like we saw with Usman, when he got hurt, Burns just rushed him, and Wonderboy could evade that, and Burns will get caught in a 1-2 maybe, and that'll knock him out. As we've seen Burns get knocked out, we have seen Wonderboy get knocked out as well, but I do think Burns has the worser chin than Wonderboy does. I do think if Wonderboy, mixes it up really cleanly, let's say a leg kick and then a head kick, quickly, a switch kick, it will really confuse Burns. Burns could rush in and will end up getting caught. I do think Wonderboy wins Burns via second round, maybe even third round knockout or TKO. I don't see Burns being that ape, especially when if he stays on the outside, Wonderboy's gonna pick him apart. He's gonna kick him, hit him, move away. He's perfect with his range. There is no way, if Burns stays on the outside, he wins it. If he does drop Wonderboy, he would need to go with him. Because if he just decides to punch, that could end very wrong for him, and he will lose. If the fight stays on the feet, Wonderboy's chances skyrockets higher than Burns' do. But if the fight does land on the ground, Burns' chances skyrocket while Wonderboy's goes down. I do believe Wonderboy wins the fight, And I do think he'll be fighting Kamaru Usman next for the welterweight championship. Now we make it to the main event. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. What do I think will happen here? This fight is very close. Because in the second fight, Conor did hurt Poirier when he was, landing his strikes. But what hurt Conor was the leg kicks. A few times when Poirier threw, I think it was once or twice, he threw a leg kick and Conor actually pulled away from it and Poirier had to spin around. If Conor does pull away from the calf kicks and instead of rushing in for, let's say, a straight left or a overhand right or an uppercut right, he should throw a head kick, a spin kick. Use his kicks back against Dustin, because when he kicked Dustin, it hurt Dustin more than Dustin's kicks hurt him. Conor has a lot of power, and I do believe if he does go knockout hunting, that could end badly for him, because Dustin would just counter him and just keep picking at that leg, hit the leg. And another thing Conor shouldn't do is try to, when he gets kicked, try to get the leg. If he goes for that leg, he'll most likely miss it. He's not a wrestler. And what he should do is always pull away and counter back. Even if it is with his fists, it will work. He has the power to beat Poirier, but he has to implement the right game plan for it. Using his kicks, not being way too overly aggressive, not trying to pick up the kick, like hold the leg when Poirier kicks it. He can't do any of that. He needs to use his kicks, head kicks, spinning kicks, leg kicks, and his hands, and figure out what he wants to do. Poirier, on the other hand, basically, he would have to go with the same style, sharpen it up a bit, and mix in wrestling. He needs to mix in the wrestling to beat Conor. He did get Conor in the second fight. He took him down when he did his little switch technique. He took him down, but Conor got right back up. And he tried it again and it got stuffed. That's gonna be, if Poirier does not time his takedowns perfectly, I think he'll have trouble taking Conor to the ground unless it's like the 4th or 5th round. If this fight does go all 5 rounds, I do think Conor has 3 rounds in him. I believe he has 3 rounds in him. He has the other 2. He'll be slow, but he'll still, he'll be there, but he'll be way slower than he was in the first 3. Poirier could take Conor down the 4th, 5th round if it goes there, but I don't think it will. I do think a TKO knockout could happen here, and it'll all depend on how Conor comes out. If he comes out boxing stance, Poirier knocks him out in the 2nd round again, maybe even the 1st. Depends on how many leg kicks he does. But if Conor comes in with his kicks, not heavy boxing stance, but he uses his kicks, Conor McGregor, I believe, knocks out Dustin Poirier in the 2nd round, maybe even end of the 1st round. I do believe Conor has this if he uses his kicks to set everything else up. So my official prediction, Conor McGregor, I'd say late end of the 1st round by knockout. So I hope you guys enjoyed this prediction video. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.